Hey guys, so today we're going to do a quick introductory video on y equals mx plus b, or in this particular case, making y the subject of a formula. So the previous knowledge that is required is graphing on a Cartesian plane, completing a table of values, and basic algebraic foundation skills. Okay, let's go through what is y equals mx plus b. Now, y equals mx plus b is commonly known as the equation of a straight line, where m is commonly known as your gradient. It's also called the slope. And b is your y-intercept. This being where the line crosses over on the y-axis. And y and x are commonly known as variables. These are things that change. So when y changes, so does x. And m and b are known as constants, where they would stay the same or constant. So let's go through some examples. So let's look at example 1, where it says 2y equals 6x plus 4. Now, in order to make y the subject, it means I need to get y by itself. Now, what is with the y here? I have a 2. Is that plus, minus, times, or divide? That is 2 times y. So the opposite or inverse of 2 times y is divided by 2. So whatever I do on one side, I must do on the other. Now that cancels this 2 out here. However, this divided by 2 is 6x divided by 2 and 4 divided by 2. So we can write that separately. Y equals 6x divided by 2 plus 4 divided by 2. And the reason why we write it separately is so that we can simplify both of these terms separately. So what we're left with is y equals 6 divided by 2 is 3, 3x, plus 4 divided by 2 is 2. We are left with the final version where y is by itself, y equals 3x plus 2. Let's go on to the next example. The next example is 4y equals 12x plus 4. My main goal is to get y by itself. Now that's 4 times y. So the opposite of 4 times y is divide both sides by 4. Again, the 4 cancels out. I'm left with y equals 12x divided by 4 plus 4 divided by 4. Because remember that 4 divides the 12x and the 4. So when I simplify this, I'm left with y equals 12 divided by 4 is 3x, and 4 divided by 4 is 1. Now these ones are already in the form of y equals mx plus b. This being your y, this being your mx, and this being your b. Let's move on to some other examples. Here, I need to get y by itself. Now it doesn't matter which side of the equal sign the y is. I just need to get it by itself. So here, I have 6x minus 9 equals 3y. What's with the y? Times 3. So the opposite of times 3 is to divide both sides by 3. That cancels out. On this side, I'm left with 6x divided by 3 minus 9 divided by 3 equals y. 6 divided by 3 is 2x. 9 divided by 3 is minus 3 equals y. Therefore, y equals 2x minus 3. Same thing, I just move it across. Let's move on to the next example. 16x plus 2y equals 10. Now, here I have two things with the y. I have the 16x and I have the plus 2 times the y. Now, one rule here is whatever is with the pronumeral, leave it till last. So I'm going to leave this plus 2y till last. And I'm going to try and get rid of the 16x. Now that's plus 16x. So the opposite of plus 16x is minus 16x. Whatever I do on one side, I must do on the other. That cancels these out. I'm left with 2y equals 10 minus 16x. Now I still have the 2 there with the y, 2 times y. So the opposite of 2 times y is divide both sides by 2. And now I got y equals 10 divided by 2 minus 16x divided by 2. So now I'm left with y equals 5, because 10 divided by 2 is 5, minus 8x. Now, this is not in the form of y equals mx plus b. So I need to just swap some things over. Y equals, what's mx here? Minus 8x. And what's b? Plus 5. Now I've made y the subject, and I've also made it y equals mx plus b. Let's move on to the last two. If you like to pause the video and give it a shot, pause the video, give it a shot, and I'll go through the answer. Okay, so you should have finished by now. So what am I trying to get by itself? The y. What is with the y? I have 15, and I also have minus 7 times y. Remember the rule? Leave whatever's with the pronumeral to last. So I'm going to get rid of the 15 first. The opposite of plus 15 is minus 15 on both sides. Now remember that minus stays with the 7y. We can't touch that. So we're left with minus 7y equals 13 minus 15 is minus 2. Now, oops, I think we have a bit of an issue here. I think it should be minus 13x. My apologies. There we go. That looks much better. I'm like, what's wrong here? All right, so we still can do that. Minus 15, minus 15, minus 7y equals 13x minus 15. So now, what's with the y? We have minus 7 times y. So we have to divide both sides by minus 7. So I'm left with y equals 13x divided by minus 7 minus 15 over minus 7. Now when we chuck this in the calculator, so if we chuck 13 divided by minus 7, we can't simplify that. So we leave that as is. Y equals minus 13 over 7x. And let's see if we can simplify minus 15 over minus 7. And that becomes a positive 15 over 7. Let's try the next one. 5y plus 6 equals 21. Again, I forgot the x. My apologies. So now, in order to get y by itself, I'm going to get rid of the 6 first, because remember, we leave whatever was with the pronumeral to last. So, minus 6, I'm left with 5y equals 21x minus 6. In order to get the y by itself, I have to get rid of the 5 times y, so the opposite is divided by 5, divided by 5. So I'm left with y equals 21 divided by 5x minus 6 divided by 5. Can we simplify 21 over 5? 21 over 5 in the calculator remains the same, and 6 over 5 remains the same as well. However, that is our final formula. If you have any questions, please let me know. Hopefully this helped. Please look at the next video on how to create a table of values from this formula and how to graph it. Thank you very much.